I know 110%, I feel it when I go to sleep at night, when I get up in the morning, we are onto an absolute winner because we are doing everything and anything that these guys don't.
You're either winning or you're not winning.
Absolutely.
It's like, do you run away from the negative press? Do you crawl into your hole?
Yeah.
Or do you come out and say, do you know what, I'm going to walk down the street with my head held high and my shoulders back, and I'm going to rebuild?
The industry is kind of, for me, it's a dying breed. I've called them dinosaurs on multiple occasions, and we all know what happened to the dinosaurs. They got fucking extinct, and I'm going to be the person to drop the bomb. Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Real Estate All Stars podcast. So I'm joined today with Ollie Mason. How you doing, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, pleasure, pleasure. So was really excited about getting you on today, mainly because I think the subject we're going to sort of talk about is probably geared around publicity. So, you know, is there such thing as bad publicity? I think there probably is.
Yeah,
but
100% is.
You know, how do you then sort of utilise that and turn that into kind of a positive? I know from our sort of our own standpoint, we've been on the receiving end of a bit of both. I mean, what's your sort of take on it, really?
I mean, listen, exposure's good, right?
Yeah.
As someone that I follow quite regularly, Grant Cardone, says money follows attention, right? So if you want to make a lot of money, you need a lot of attention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you also need the right kind of attention. So the question is, you know, and I mean, a little bit of background about me. So I've been in business for sort of 10, 15 years. Started out in real estate development, probably built over 100 apartments, had a big company, but it failed basically. It failed end of 2019, beginning of 2020.
Yeah, you got quite a bit of stick for that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's been, I know we had an open discussion about it when you kind of joined.
Yeah.
You know, we went into this partnership together, and you know, you're open about it, the fact that it didn't go right. Yourself and others lost out.
I was very concerned because obviously leading on to where we were sort of going with regards to publicity, I have a lot of bad publicity about my name and about me. And I wanted to be totally upfront with you because obviously brand is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, I remember calling you and saying, look, I've got something to tell you. You know, I had this company, it failed, and there's a lot of bad press about me. But, you know, I think you've got to kind of confront that, haven't you?
I think, look, the issue is that there's, you know, I looked into it as well, there's clearly going to be and has been disgruntled people where obviously there was developments going on, people lost money, you lost a lot of money, you know, and everyone lost out basically. You know, I can certainly assure anyone, certainly from my own due diligence, of anyone that comes into business with myself, Ollie is definitely not sitting there with a pile of money under his bed. It was a stinger, and he's had to dust himself off from a business perspective and get back on the horse. You know, and
I think it is like you've got to. There's two ways you can go with regards to this, right? So you can either crawl up into a ball and lock the door and you know, hide yourself basically because it's not a great thing. Like when a company fails, like, you know, I'm not proud of it.
No, it happens.
It happens at the end of the day, and you know, you've got to kind of deal with that. And or the other way is just to go, right, okay, I have nothing to hide.
What's your next move?
You kind of push against it, really.
I think that's it. You know, for me, it was. I remember when I was in a company when I just started luxury real estate, and I didn't tell them about my criminal record. And all I thought to myself was, my way of dealing with it, because I didn't know how to deal with this, was that I'm going to become such a good agent that by the time they find out, they can't sack me. That's what I thought.
Did it.
And I did it. Just, you know, I did it. I scraped in, and you know, and that was my attitude to it. Was that you know, everybody makes mistakes. The world is not a perfect world that we all want it to be.
Very far
People
from it.
Fuck up. And it happens. I'm a prime example of that. And I think one of the things for me was that you've got to go into anything you do with business, with kind of your life, your day-to-day routines, really, and I don't like to use like cliches like be positive. I feel that, like, you know, just being positive over nothing is not the right answer. I think what you've got to have is positive and affirmative actions. So you've got to have affirmative actions on, first of all, your own actions, your own business, and what you do day to day. But then also affirmative actions on how does that affect people around you, and is that going to affect their lives better? And that was always my kind of backbone of my actions that I was taking for this business. I thought to myself, yes, I want to build something and make a name for myself, because I've done a good job of disgracing my family name for the last few years. So I thought, let's try and throw something positive in there. And then, you know, and then for me, it was about like, how can I help other people? You know, I've learned to sell luxury property. I believe I've almost become a master at it. And, you know, for me, my job now is to help other people do that. And that's where the spine of the business has been formed. But, you know, along that journey, we had like the Mega Mansion Hunters series that come out. They didn't, you know, the editing and the way they put that together, I'll be honest, wasn't how I wanted it to be. There was a lot of scenes that were a lot more glamorous that got cut. And there seemed to be this raw theme that wanted to carry through it, but that's fine. You know, it is what it is. I think they saw that, they were the experts, and you know, it did okay. But me riling up a room full of agents with a few F words suddenly made me a narcissist. To the
Wolf of Wall Street.
And the Daily Mail suddenly thought, okay, I'm going to absolutely crucify this guy.
But this is the thing with the media, they're always going to find the weak point. They're always going to try and exploit that, and they're going to dig in, you know, like with regards to one of the pieces that came out, which involved me. I mean, the first headline that came out, which the reporter released, was so infactually correct. And they literally had to change it. And this really just loops back to fake news, doesn't it, at the end of the day?
It's ridiculous. I think they released because you were included in the headline of the Daily Mail, and they literally said that that Tyron Ash Real Estate was involved in your old business. It was like so far off the mark. And we were just like, that doesn't even make sense. And they actually changed it because it wasn't even correct. But I think that like the main thing is that it boils down to resilience. With any kind of business, whether it's real estate, whether it's something else, it takes a large level of resilience, because you get a lot more hits before you start seeing the good. I think that's fair to say.
And you've got to take risks as well in business, you know, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, especially when they start out. They think, you know, they see you driving around in a nice car, they think it's all going to be very nice, but then what they don't see, and I'm not just talking about real estate, I'm talking about every business, is that it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of risk. And, you know, reality is, when I was a property developer, I had to sign a lot of personal guarantees, you know. So I'd actually put my neck on the line. And that greatly affected me in the end of the day, because, you know.
And that was you trying to do good by people, to try and say, look, this is going to work, this is what's going to happen. And, you know, of course, sometimes it doesn't happen. And I think that it's, you know, one of the funny things is when you see like people who maybe go on Love Island and they go on these shows, and you know, they get crucified by the media. They're getting hammered on social media, they're getting hammered in newspapers, and then you wonder why, like, you know, you see some of them and they end up committing suicide, they end up doing these things. And I remember having, not a joke, but it was like a bit of a passing comment that I made, and it was that, like, Jesus Christ, if I wasn't, you know, if I didn't have nerves of steel and thick skin, I'd have strung myself up a long time ago. You know, I was getting hammered daily. I think there's double figures of the newspapers that I got hammered in. And it was like, but I didn't care, because I knew it wasn't true. And as the business is now like nearly, you know, 2.5 years on, everyone's got a little bit tired of throwing mud at us. Because they suddenly realize, well, we're not going anywhere. Like, if anyone thinks that they can slag us off and we're going to disappear and we're going to go and cry in the corner, we're just coming back stronger and coming back stronger, because we are not messing around. Like, we are built on structure, discipline, focus, results. That whether you like us, hate us, think I'm a bit of an arse for driving a car, or I've been in a newspaper, or you did this in a previous business, the reality is that the process, the structures of what we're doing in the business actually work and actually get the houses sold.
I mean, it's very black and white as well. It's a very black and white business. And
it is.
You know, at the end of the day, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved, because first of all, it's breaking the mold of what, I mean, I've hired a lot of the big name high street estate agents.
Right.
They used to work for me.
Oh, I see.
They used to sell my apartments, and I know how rubbish they are. You know, and that's not really a dig at them either, because like, you don't know what you don't know.
No, that's exactly it.
You know, I didn't know that. That's why I hired them. I thought they were the experts. But then when I joined Tyron Ash Real Estate, became an expert, understood the different, you know, the different process that we run, then you know that you're doing something different and you're adding value, which is key, really.
I think that's the thing, is that you know, we spoke about it multiple times, that the industry is kind of, for me, it's a dying breed. I've called them dinosaurs on multiple occasions, and we all know what happened to the dinosaurs. They got fucking extinct. And I'm going to be the person to drop the bomb, because for me, I just know, like when I say I'm like a shark that's had a drop of blood drop in the water. That is how I feel about this industry. I know 110%, I feel it when I go to sleep at night, when I get up in the morning, we are onto an absolute winner, because we are doing everything and anything that these guys don't. And that's what I know we're doing. So whether, yes, we've had to be brash, and that has resulted in us being in newspapers, but do you know what? My target when we started the business was, we've got to be a household name in the UK. Well, guess what, we are. So that's checkbox one done. Now it's converting all that attention into what you said, which was revenue, which is what we're doing.
And I think people look at it and just think, oh, it's flash, it's social media, but the reality is, like, we are experts in selling luxury property. Any property, in fact. And all you've got to do is sit down with a few disgruntled clients who have been with other agencies and actually realise how bad they've been treated. And then the good thing is, we're coming there with a solution. So, you know, we can actually provide that solution. And then, you know, we are top of our game in what we're doing. So.
100%. I think that's a lot of what it is that, you know, it's, you know, there are people with established relationships. Funny enough, we've had sales we've agreed recently where they've been in real prime or super prime areas, where they've got established relationships with estate agents that have been there for like 15, 20 years. And they've had their house for sale for 6-7 months, and we've come in it and nailed it in 6 weeks. And the owner themselves is angry that he's taking our offer. Because he can't not take the offer, because he's got to sell his house. He needs to sell it. But he's also worried about the repercussions of the fact that he's put us on board because that his agent he plays golf with hasn't sold the house. We've come in 4 or 5 weeks, nailed it, got on maybe the price or over the price that they want. And they go, oh, well, I guess I'll have to take your offer then, won't I? That's what it's like.
I think there is definitely some disbelief sometimes. You know, it's like you've got these big name brands. I won't name them, but you know, it's very built into the mindset sometimes of this country. It's like, oh, you know, like, I've got my agent, and it's sort of like it all sort of ties in. And then we're the underdog coming in. And it's almost like sometimes people don't want it to be true.
They don't want it to be true, exactly. And then when it happens, it's like, I've just earned you £3 million. What's your problem? Like, you know, but the reality is that everyone hates change. It happened in every single industry. There was a time when everybody used a Nokia phone. I remember it. And all I was thinking about was which model Nokia phone I was going to use. And then there was a time when where we only use an iPhone. There was a time where we only called our taxis and waited for them to pull up on the road, and then they'd ring you and say, oh, I'm here. Or only got a black cab, and now we use Uber. And it's like, these things, like, they happen for a reason, because business is about evolution. Business is about change. It's about growth, and that's what we're doing.
100%. I mean, look at Uber. Look at all the things taking over now, and everything that's new gets attacked as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I think we're definitely part of that.
I think that's it. I think that the the kind of exposure we were getting. I always knew, because I remember there was all these like memes going around on Twitter.
Yeah.
There was like these crazy reviews being like fake reviews that we've got loads of them still that have just been written.
There's loads about me, like fake, like literally fictitious.
Fake reviews. And you just think, oh, give it a rest. We've got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
But the reality is that after a while, you realise that there are many, many happy clients. There are many people who trust us in selling multiple luxury homes for them and will only trust us now. And I think that exposure, which is going back to the original point, was that we made sure that we were the most well-known in the UK, and that's what we're doing. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
We are everywhere. You go onto any social media platform, there we are. And, you know, we're instructing record amounts of for sale and sold boards right across the UK now. Yeah. We've got so much traction happening for us as a business, and that is because we have had the resilience. If we stopped every time there was a negative article, a negative review, someone slagged us off on social media, someone put an article out saying we're all hot air, you know.
Well, case in point is Donald Trump, right?
Yes.
So he's been majorly attacked, and love him or hate him, right?
Yeah.
The guy did not back down, and he became president of the United States. Now, if he can do it, anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's made mistakes. He's been in business a long time, but it's all about facing that and really just, you know, going out and flourishing and prospering, really.
I think as one of the, you know, the best sayings I ever, sayings I ever heard, I think it was Winston Churchill, and don't quote me word for word, but it was literally that if you're going through hell, keep on walking.
Run, basically.
Keep on walking.
Yeah, if you're going through hell, run. Literally.
And you know, and that's you know, and that's kind of you know, that best summarizes business. You know, is you if it's, and I always believe that the universe will make you go through a load of shit before it delivers something good. And the reason it does that is because not everybody is designed to achieve the top level. So if you're not willing to put up with the rain, you can't effectively have the rainbow, so to speak. That's what it's about. And for me, you know, not everyone's cut out for that.
Yeah, and you can't run away either, and you can't hide. At the end of the day, you're either winning or you're not winning, right? So you're either surviving or you're not surviving.
Yeah.
So there's the two ends of the spectrum. You really have to make a choice.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, do you run away from the negative press? Do you crawl into your hole?
Yeah.
Or do you come out and say, do you know what? I'm going to walk down the street with my head held high and my shoulders back, and I'm going to rebuild.
And take action.
And take action.
I think affirmative action is always what it boils down to as well. When you get up in the morning, what do? Do you wait for your day to happen to you, or do you attack it? You've got a load of shitty newspaper articles, you've got a load of people who don't like you, whatever it might be, whatever difficulties you're facing. Is your missus or your husband giving you shit? Are you not enjoying your relationship? Are you in a rubbish job, or whatever it might be, you know? But it's always down to us, regardless of the external factors. And when people realise this, that's when they get real power.
Yeah,
because
100%.
I am always a product of my own actions. I genuinely have zero emotion to what people say about me. It doesn't affect me in any way.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
I know that about you as well, because I've witnessed it, and I think, you know, I that's one of the things I commend about you, actually, because not everyone's so thick-skinned, and you know, like, the people that you're around on a daily basis can affect you a lot.
Of course, yeah.
Like, if you start out in a business, if you want to become the best real estate agent, but then you go in home and your missus is going, it's not working.
Yeah.
You haven't got money coming in.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're out every evening. You've got to take the kids here, there. That can affect you.
Massively. I think that the sacrifices people have to make it in real estate, to make it in business, are huge. They affect the people around them. But that's why you've got to have a nucleus of people around you that support you on your journey. Because the funny thing is when you're banking in 50, 60, 100 grand a month, you know, then it's all singing and dancing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's happy days.
You've got to go through that. You've got to go through it. Everyone's got to batten down the hatches a little bit.
Yeah.
I've had to do it. People I know have had to do it. You know, it is just part of business. It's part of real estate, but it's got to happen. And I think that for me, that is a common theme with our business. Is I think that people think if you've been an estate agent, if you've been in sales, you can just become a real estate agent overnight. The biggest thing that we've spoke about even on previous podcasts is about the mindset and the resilience that you have to have. It's that you have to be able to go through that storm, get through the other side. And the funny thing is that we are a business that is in the public eye. Everybody knows who we are.
Yeah.
And people might speak to a client and go, I don't like Tyron Ash Real Estate. They're a bit too flashy. I watched that show. I don't like him, blah, 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 whatever it might be. But that's just an objection.
Yeah.
Because everyone has an objection to overcome. What people think is that no one's got a straight run. No one.
No.
You could have too much exposure, too little exposure.
Yeah.
They might not like the corporate company you work for. They might not like your car. You might be too fat, too thin. They might not black people, white people, Asian people.
Yeah.
Like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
So your way of overcoming that is what sets you apart from everybody else. Do you sit there and bitch about it, or are you going to come up with a solution? I remember knocking doors and prospecting in an area that was largely Jewish.
Yeah.
It was largely Jewish in North London. And everyone went, well, you're Asian, you're not going to get in there. They're all Jewish.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what's that got to do with it? In my head, I was like, what has that got to do with it? I'm the best agent.
But most people would have backed off there and gone,
they do.
Do you know what?
They do.
You're
I
right.
think there was actually a girl in the office who was Jewish who said that's her area because she's Jewish.
Yeah.
And I said, you've got no listings. You don't have an area. I'm knocking all your doors and I'm listing them. And I started listing them. And you know what? It was never an issue.
No.
It was never an issue. And preconceived, premeditated ideas are what talk you out of success. They're what talk people out of success. You can't do it because the market's too bad. The market's too healthy. Everything's getting sold.
Yeah.
The market's crashing.
Yeah.
Interest rates are too high. Interest rates are too low.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's actually just all fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It is all bullshit.
And you can turn it around to a positive as well, because if the market's not doing too well, guess what? There's going to be a lot of business to be able to go and clean up.
Yeah,
so.
everyone will need to sell. A lot of people will need to sell, and there'll be a lot of people capitalising on it. And I think that, the best people in business adapt. And I think that, my view on kind of what we're talking about here with the exposure side of things is that we are all about social media. When a property gets marketed through us, it gets marketed to hundreds of thousands of eyes and dozens of buyers. And that is through exposure.
100%.
As a business, we have got hundreds of thousands of people who understand who we are, maybe millions who understand and know who we are. And that is through exposure.
Well, there's a reason why we got the number one most viewed property on Rightmove, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of my first ever listings.
That was, yeah. Which you sold.
Yeah, we sold
£3 million
within.
quid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we did that through social media and through the exposure. And if we didn't have that, we didn't have the exposure, then we'd have never achieved that.
And I think that the main thing is I remember listening to an audiobook a while back through Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, and he said that exposure and attention is the new currency. And back then it used to just be about money. Set up your office on a high street, you'll get people walk past, you'll make some connections, you'll make some sales, you'll get some properties, you'll make some sales. Now it's about who are you, how much attention is around you, and do we want to list with you, do we want to do business with you? And then the money comes later. And I think that's what we've worked on very, very well. And there's no one even within the same stratosphere as us at the moment.
And I think it is slowly changing because, like my kids, for instance, they don't watch normal TV. They watch YouTube.
Yes.
Like my son wants to watch YouTube all the time. My kids want to, they're not interested in, not even really in Netflix.
No.
To be honest.
No,
so, if you think about that transition in 10, 15 years, TV's not even going to exist.
No, it's going to be obsolete.
And it's going to be like, who's got the most following? Who's got, who's got the blue tick? Who's got this and that,
It's true.
And that is going to be the way that people will make their decisions. And the high street will and is dying at the end of the day.
Yeah, you had the most viewed property on Rightmove, which was brilliant. And then we got that one sold. And I think, that is testament to the resilience you've had as a person, as an individual, and as a real estate agent. And I think it's and just to finish on, what do you see for yourself in the next kind of 6 months?
I think look, at the end of the day, when I approach any business, I want to excel. If I'm not excelling, then I'm not happy with myself. And at the end of the day, I have achieved a lot in the short period of time I've been here. And some of the clients I brought on board and some of the people I've met has been amazing. but I'm still not where I want to be because I'm very hard on myself.
Yes.
And I think that's key with anyone who's successful. Like, you know, I'm very hard on myself, and I'm not happy until I am in, you know, number one, ideally. So
I think, well, look, you know, the things you're doing at the moment are phenomenal, and I think you can see just the sales that are being agreed, the listings that come into market.
Yeah.
There is some impressive stuff going on, and I think, you know, when we talk about conversations like when you first joined and you were thinking about, oh, okay, you know, I was a bit worried about these newspaper articles and this, you know, all you've done is you've taken that, you know, you've used that as a positive, you've dusted yourself down, you've recreated yourself now in an industry that is very black and white, and you get judged on your results, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Ollie.
Cool,
it's been really
Thanks
good today.
Me.
And yeah, tune in, guys. So for next week's podcast, which is going to be next Thursday on Real Estate All Stars.